Yo, welcome back, guys. It's been a minute. At least for myself. Welcome back to another episode of Black Nerd Fridays. Today we discuss Morbius, and the title I chose for this is Life or Death. So before we get into Morbius, let's talk about what we normally talk about. First off, how you doing, bro?
What up with it, man? Happy belated birthday, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Yeah, birthday week just ending out here, brother. You know what I mean? Let's get it.
Yeah. Ready to get right to it, man. So what you drinking on?
Man, shout out to Soul Brothers Brewing Company. I didn't throw the shirt on today because I was trying to rep the the team, the squad. He didn't even put no damn label on this joint, but it is a stout.
You know black folks.
Yeah, you know black folks. But this was one he was making actually because I copped a shirt from him. I like the multicolored shirt he had. So shout out to Corey, man, out there doing it. Look at me, man, popping this top. This is a big mouth top.
Let's get it.
So that thing, the whole thing opened up. So it ain't no sip and pour as you choose. It's like, man, you better just pull it up. And of course, I got the Blackberry Nerd glass up in this joint.
Love it.
Oh, this ain't even the stout. Oh, this is the other one. My bad. I drank the stout yesterday. See, this is what happened when you ain't got no damn labels on it. And you can tell my glass dirty. I tried to rinse that joint, but it didn't do it right. So I think this is his either the Hef or the IPA joint. But I'm about to find out though. The thing looked nice. Nice color.
Poured beautifully.
Yeah, it's nice color, man. Nice head on that joint. Excuse my dirty glass. I thought I rinsed it out good enough.
Yeah, I see that.
I ain't gonna show the too much carbonation bubbles that's sticking to the side.
Yeah, I see it.
This definitely either the Hef or the IPA. Hold on. Yeah, that's the Hef. That's the Hef that he recently dropped. So shout out to him, man. If he would have told me which ones was which, and I would have been like, all right, let me pour the stout for last. So that means I got to go get the big boy can.
Yeah,
and come back. Because I'm definitely not gonna do it after the first week you back, brother. I ain't gonna do you with a Hef out here. You already know how we gonna get down. So I gotta.
I already know how you.
Gotta go get that 13.5 out the trunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly how you doing. Listen, I ain't got no 13.5, but I got something light and I got something else. I don't want to pop it unless my carbonation is right on here. Homebrew joint. But anyways, I'm drinking on Cigar City, Florida, man. It's a double IPA, 8-point-something%. I don't know exactly what. 8.5. So this is something light to start off with, after watching that dark movie. But I got something else. I got one of my homebrew drinks, but I ain't gonna crack it because I'm a crack, but I ain't gonna show you unless the carbonation is right. Because my last bottle, something was wrong with that carbonation. But anyways, man. Let's get into it. Our normal. What's your good, your bad, and your ugly of Morbius? And let's talk about it. Let's get into it, bro. Hold on, before I do that, let me
pop your can, pop the can. And
shout
out to Sudz. What up, Sudz?
Okay,
we love you. We got nothing but shout out to our third co-host Sudz out here, constantly making moves. Go check her out, KinkySudz. That's looking nice right there.
This is my Belgian quad right here. I've been sitting on this for months.
I like that.
Last joint had no carbonation. I don't know what happened, but this joint poured up right. So we talking. Yeah,
now we talking.
This is a 9%er right here. So let's get to it.
Man, you got to put the ticker at the bottom, man. You got to put the ticker at the bottom so they see what's going on. We got the good, bad, and ugly. Cheers, brother. There we go. All right, keeping it together.
Cheers, bro.
Hey, man. So my good definitely, and I'll just knock through them real quick. My good is definitely just the storyline up until Lucian, or I forgot what he keep calling him with disrespect.
Milo.
Yeah, Milo with that disrespect. But I think everything was good up until the interaction with Lucian, aka Milo, and just how that transpired, because it didn't really seem like it was going to go that way. So I just say the storyline was great. If anybody knows the whole aspect of Morbius, this is nothing where I would say this was a bad movie, which I heard a lot of reviews saying it was horrible. And I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about. The CG was great. Like, yeah, a couple of the fight scenes, it was a little too much, but you got to understand this is trying to capture vampires moving at supersonic sounds. So I really didn't understand the hate that they have for Morbius. Definitely my bad is just my bad is definitely Morbius as a character, at least in the movie. Now I know it definitely is very similar to the comic book as far as following along with what his goal was as a person who had a disease that was that disfigured him, and a lot of issues in that sense. But I really just, as I always talk about, and I wish Suz was here, because Suz definitely was going to go probably heavy into the science, which I think that they when it comes to gene splicing or mutations, that is very fascinating to Suds. To me, it was just like, man, you gotta stop playing with this otherworldly thing that you think you know about, man. Like, I don't understand how you thought mixing vampire bat blood, excuse me, and human blood was going to turn out any different. Very weird. And didn't even watch the mouse that you shot it into to see if there was any after effects or anything. You just was like, oh, it's moving. So it just kind of showed you that haste of that life. Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Thank you. I mean, the movie's been out for a minute. People been hating on it, so it's all spoilers out here. No
Yeah,
holds
it's all
barred.
good. It's all good.
And then my bad is gonna my ugly is definitely gonna be Lucian, or what's his name again? I keep forgetting how you disrespect.
Yeah, Lucian is his name.
Yeah, Lucian, but what's Lucian his name? But what do you call him again?
He called him Milo.
Milo, yeah. I just didn't like how that progressed, man. I really thought it could be a little bit more in-depth conversation, some deeper talks about, like, hey, when you were gone, this is what I dealt with. These are the things that I did to climb up to become the lawyer or the boss, because we don't know if he's a mob boss or what. We don't know if he's a kingpin-esque type of person or or whatever it is. But I really wish that conversation would have been in higher regard and detail, instead of the way it transpired to just like, I just want us to be free and like do whatever we want because we never had the chance to do it yet. I got a lot of money and I fund all your projects, and it just was weird.
Yeah, now I feel you on that. It's kind of funny because I didn't know where that was going. So my good, first off, is it stood out much better than, I never read the comics, but I did watch his appearance on Spider-Man back in the 90s, right after X-Men.
That's a fact.
So he was on there, and he was a little weak on the cartoon, but I did like him at the same time. On here, they didn't have him looking for plasma with 6 holes in his hand and stuff like that. I need more plasma. He wasn't doing that, but I will say the animation on here, not the animation, the CG was lit. The action in here was very good, and actually, to be honest with you, the storyline was good. They had some holes in there that didn't make sense, but I thought it was a well put together movie, despite the critics, despite the things people were saying. I totally enjoy it. Just be honest. I watched it 3 times. First time I fell asleep. I ain't gonna hold you. Second 2 times I watched it all the way through, and I was able to pick it apart. My bad was watching Lucian / aka Milo, whatever the heck his name is. I noticed they incorporated elements of Spider-Man 3 in there. Now, you remember when Peter Parker got the symbiote suit?
Yeah.
So now here he is. He has the vampire blood in him, and he's dancing and doing all weird stuff, dancing in the mirror and everything. I said, this shit cheesy as hell. That right there I didn't like. That was, Spider-Man 3 to me when he got the symbiote suit, when Peter Parker got it. So I didn't really care for that aspect. My ugly, and I'm just going to be honest with you, they definitely has some real corny things going on in there. One of them was the dance, but more importantly, the gene splicing stuff. Like you said, as humans, we like to test our limits. Not only test our limits, but try to live forever or cure things and mess with stuff we shouldn't mess with. Okay, God made you how you are, whatever that may be, your faults, your beauty. Why are you trying to mess with that? I get it. You had a rare blood disease and all this stuff, but mixing vampire bat blood with human blood and all that didn't make sense to me, man. And it just didn't add up at all. And to be honest, who would try that on themselves? And it made it seem as though this is just something that's normal. Like the guy had to go all the way out into the middle of the ocean to do it. No sort of boundaries,
No
no
connection.
government can
Yep.
be involved, can be involved with what he's doing. So that was, that was my ugly. Just watching all that happen, I felt like if your life is that important to you, where you feel like I got to get a cure for this, and this, why would you risk yourself in that sort of danger? You're going to die no matter what. But that right there was just too crazy for me. So I didn't like that aspect at all. But I did like the CGE. I liked the storyline and everything else that was involved in it. So that part was dope.
Definitely like CGI, man. CGI was killing it.
Yeah, it definitely was. Okay. So looking at his past, how did that push him to become the person that he was?
Man, I mean, that was real quick explanation from the past. Morbius as a child to the present day Morbius leaving when they were trying to give him a Nobel Peace Prize or whatever, and he was just like, man, screw all of y'all. But at the end of the day, it was really, again, he just was like, hey, I'm on a lot of borrowed time, more so than everyone else, and I just don't have any feelings to get to know people. Hence why I always called everybody Milo that I met. Never respected them enough to know their names, because either they're going to be gone or I'm going to be gone. So he was just like a middle finger to everybody. And then he meets Lucian, who actually, we're talking about spoilers, who literally in the beginning of the movie just slumps over dying because the machine that he has, it's not functioning properly. So the blood's not circulating. So yeah, man, it was just, I mean, that just showed that he was like, I want to live, so I'm gonna do whatever it is, but I'm gonna learn. And I think a lot of people do this in some shape, way, or form. They may not become a geneticist or a doctor or a scientist that's focused on the actual disease that they have. But I do have a friend. I mean, I do have a associate that I knew. Still want to call my friend, but just hasn't talked to him in a long time. Who had I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's a lot of bone issues. Very intelligent, could talk, but his bones weren't set right, and so it was just very it was very difficult for him. And I can only imagine if you tie it into what Morbius dealt with, of like that day-to-day life of ridicule, because the person that I knew growing up from middle school and high school, it was just a lot of people would say a lot of things about him behind his back. And you also got to see with Lucian when he read the letter, and the kids were kind of taunting him, but he was like, man, just give it back. And it's like, this is just somebody who's, and this is a reality to me. I think people try to make like, oh, how could you do that? But I know plenty of people who joke or bully, because it's really not a joke, or bully a disabled person. And that wasn't a surprise to me. Like, you knew that was coming, but that is our reality as a species. Like, we're pretty fucked up, especially when it comes to kids. Like, they have no filter and no understanding, but if it affects them, then the world's over. But as long as they're not the target, then they actually go into the that pack mentality of like, let me go ahead and not be the one that's singled out so I don't get bullied, which again just continues the cycle of bullying. But anyway, really, to just get to that point, like Michael Morbius really wanted to find a cure, and he didn't. He was very intelligent. That he really didn't want to use his intelligence, because he's like, what's the point when I'm about to die? And luckily for Dr. Nicholas, for him to just push and say, hey, there's greatness in you, so go ahead and do it. And he turned out to be, great. But again, that desire not to die and to really fix what was broken for him and what caused him pain, he really sought after that. And so I like that aspect to it. It just delve into the fact that he's like, I'm gonna make it happen. I wish they would have showed maybe a couple of college scenes or something like that, because he graduated at 19 with a PhD. I wish they would show some college scenes where, realistically, you got some people who, like I said, with the friend associate that I know, man, just talk, everything's cool in front of him, but then he was back talking behind his back, laugh at him when he's like playing catch with somebody throwing a football or something during lunch break or something like that, just trying to do things that everybody else does. And I really wanted to see that depth, so people really get that, man, we're pretty fucked up.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's definitely a fact. I mean, I look at it like similar to that. So first off, you go through his ridicule as a child. I mean, he was extremely intelligent, but he knew that he had a disability with his blood, etc. So he knew his time was limited. but that ridicule he had, the bullying that he had, allowed him to push himself further and push limits that nobody would expect it. Example, obviously, he found vampires, and I believe it was Costa Rica is where he got them from, and used that blood to splice with his blood and turn into what he didn't expect. But most importantly, the intelligence that he was trying to use it for good, but it didn't turn out that way. It ended up being to where he was pretty much kind of sacrificing himself and ended up turning into a monster, because technically that's what he was creating by trying something that's unknown, not FDA approved or anything, just throwing everything together. So he became a monster in so many words. And watching that transition from a child to an adult, but they didn't give you the gaps of high school, they didn't give you the gaps of college, even though, again, you say he graduated early, you didn't get all that, but it made him push harder because he knew his time was limited. And not to mention, he also had other people who relied upon him, those children that was in the hospital. So he understood what he went through, and he didn't want anybody else to go through the same thing he did. So he definitely pushed his limits and became the person that he was today. And that person ended up being respectable, in my opinion. Whether he was a vampire, whether he was a human, I liked him. I really enjoyed him. All right, so what limits would you push to find a cure for a disease?
Man, and I was gonna think of a question when I was watching that part where him and I forgot the female character's name,
Martine,
when they were having that
Dr.
conversation,
Bancroft.
and I think that it to me, because we push as a species, we'll push to the bitter end, and it's like a double-edged sword. I wish Suz was here to talk about how, again, just for women getting pap smears, like what they did to African women, Black women,
Yeah,
and the horrific things that they did for multiple years. No anesthesia. I mean, really physically mutilating their bodies to so that they can have what a lot of women do on when they go to the doctor to get a pap smear. That came from brutal science, and it's like, so when you ask this question, it's just hard. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I would know when to stop,
mm-hmm.
because I couldn't say that that's the case. If it's something for me where it's like it'll only affect me, like with Morbius, what he thought, like he was like, I'm gonna be the trial, I'm gonna be the test dummy. I can
Yeah,
respect that because you're like, you're doing it. Excuse me, but I mean, for yourself, as long as it's you, then cool.
mm-hmm.
If you die from it, then you tried. If you survive from it and you can work through it, then so be it. So I would say there's no limit as far as if it's something that's for you. I mean, physically you're going to take all that pain, but if you
Mm-hmm.
try to enter other people into it, then that's when I'm just like, yo, that's where the lines cross, because I know that there is an abyss of what is too far once you start
Yeah,
saying I'm so close.
yeah. See, I'm with you on that. Like, it's a double-edged sword. So what I'm gonna say is, number one, you're fighting for yourself and whatever your situation is, whatever that current disease is. But number two, most likely there's somebody else out there who has the same thing that you have. So you sacrificing yourself or putting yourself on that trial
Mm,
to find something new or create something new says a lot. And even though I didn't like the fact that he did what he did, is splicing the genes between bats and human blood, I still have to respect it at the same time, because it wasn't just him that he was doing it for. He was doing it for a lot of other people. So I have to give him his credit on that. Um, Looking at that, if I was in that situation, there is a limit to the things I would do. Like you said, I understand the things that Black women went through before the standard or modern thing we have now is a
mm,
pap smear and all the different things that they went through. I don't know if I'd be able to take some of the things that we've experienced pre technology or pre modern science and stuff like that. Although I'm pretty sure that we were involved in the process, as Black folks, we were the creators or the patents, well, maybe not the patenters, because somebody else did that.
that's right.
But there is a limitation to where I would go, depending on what it is, depending on the pain aspect, etc. And the possible outcome, because in this scenario you don't know what you're getting. You're just trying something. Like you said, he
Mm,
didn't even look to see what the effects were from the rat. He just said, forget it, I'm doing this and I'm going to try it on myself. which again, it's double-edged sword. I give him respect for doing it, but I also say, hey man, what's your limit on what you're gonna do? But I also have to remember there's other people he's fighting for at the same time. And to me, that's what made him so unique. As much as I can say I didn't like this or this or this in a movie, just the character, Dr. Morbius, whether vampire or just regular plain old human, I have to respect him as a human being because what he was willing to sacrifice to be alive and to help other people, mainly as you can see, children. So I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, I think Sudz would.
I was just
I think Sudz would drop in and say this is the reason why Black people of color should be heavily into the sciences and all aspects of things that require decisions to be made for people. Because if you have a group of people who do not know struggle and the level of struggle that not just Black people in the United States, but the whole diaspora face, but also other people, but other people of color face too, then you won't take that into consideration when you're doing experiments, when you're doing trial studies. And Sudz has talked about this heavily, even with the work that she does currently. So, I mean, that's just just a side note that we definitely, we got to go from the hoop rock, to the to the test tube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, facts, because it's like, longevity out here, man. It can make so much change. But anyway, get on my
Definitely. I'm so mad that she's not here specifically for this conversation. I think I would love to see her input in general. We might have to text her and see what's just going on, her thoughts on that process, because this movie was interesting. And this is why I'm kind of upset that people critiqued it that the way they did. Like, if you look on Rotten Tomatoes and different stuff, the things that they have to say about it and just the overall, just the number that they have, 5% and 20% here. You like, wait a minute, did we watch the same movie?
No.
I don't think so.
No, they didn't, man. They didn't. By watching it, like the first 30 minutes in, I'm like, bro, I don't know what y'all talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so with that being said, what weaknesses did Morbius have?
Man, I can't even remember, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't sunlight. I mean, that's the thing. He's not a vampire. I think that's the only thing how.
Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I don't mean weaknesses as a vampire. Okay. What was his weak spot?
I mean, his weak spot was not killing people first, because when he woke up and realized that he murdered a whole bunch of people when he went into a bloodlust rage, when he was into full on vampire bat mode. And then the second one, of course, is Martine, or if I got her name correctly. I mean, that's just somebody that close to. That he probably just kind of always was like, no, we're just colleagues because I'm going to die soon, or who wants to be around a cripple. And in that regards, is probably what he was saying, to be vulgar to himself. But I think overall, man, those are it, man. And then also, I think really one of the biggest weaknesses is that internal aspect of like, I have to go back and save everybody as I promised. I think that's probably the biggest one that not only pushed him into the direction to get results, but also weighed heavily on him to where it's like, even if this is the most dangerous thing, I'm going to jump in and not think about the people who, if it doesn't succeed, who I'm going to leave behind if I end up dying.
That's a good one. So I'm going to start off first with Dr. Bancroft. That was his weakness, aka Martine was her name, Dr. Bancroft. That was his main weakness. So people knew if they wanted to hurt him, they can get at her to get his attention. Number two would be the fact that he did have I have other people depending on me. I'm trying to help other people. So that is also weakness, to where someone could say, hey, I'll grab one of these kids or one of these other humans that have the same condition that you have, and I'm going to get them to draw you out. More importantly, he wasn't willing to go that full step to become to his full potential, which was, okay, I got to drink real blood in order for this to be efficient, for it to really work.
Very Blade-esque in that, very Blade-esque.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why that's a whole nother rabbit hole conversation. But Blade, oh my God. That's why I respected him at the same time, because he was not willing to sacrifice other people to reach his means, and that even if that meant drinking something synthetic or doing something that was the lesser of. This is why I respect Batman, and I know you hate that, but Batman ain't trying to kill nobody.
Batman can kick rocks, man. We ain't even gonna go down that rabbit hole because what I'm gonna say. The Joker kills millions, and what does Batman do?
Trigger. But yeah, if you hit him with, all right, let me get Dr. Bancroft, or let me mess with one of these kids, and he's done. It's over with. But I believe that from the jump, he should have been drinking that real blood from the start, and just get right to it and see what he has as far as his limitations, his potential, etc. Because he missed out on a lot. I'll just say that. And it's perfect because I have another question, but I'm going to end off with this one and go to this next one. So if you could choose, would you want the vampire abilities?
The abilities?
Yeah.
Again, I would say for that, because that was more like the vampire bat abilities. You know what I mean? Like, so I would say yeah. I would say yeah to a point. I don't want the whole turn into a vampire, teeth going and gotta suck blood, but the whole echolocation. Come on, man, that thing is fire. At least the way they showed that was fire. I mean, the whole catching the wind, just a slight wind to fly. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I mean, that was key. I just think the strength, everybody's gonna be like, yeah, I want the strength. But I mean, yeah, I would definitely want to get some of those powers, man. I just don't want to turn into no monster that gotta suck blood. That's all I'm saying.
Be honest with you, from all the folklore and all that stuff, vampires are my favorite. What do you call it? Werewolves are my second. So I wouldn't have a problem if I had to be a vampire. Something about them. The only thing I hate is that they can't go in the sunlight and stuff like that, because I love the sun. I like it 90-some degrees all year round. I need to just sit in there and absorb the sun. But I don't know if I'd be willing to sacrifice it. But anyways, I love vampires. Now, in this aspect, I would choose that if I didn't have to have those weaknesses that came with it. And in this case, this scenario, that didn't bother him at all, which is a good thing. Now, also what we did not see, so we don't know. We didn't see him as Morbius in the daytime as
Facts.
vampire. So we don't know if that affected him. We've seen him as himself in the daytime without the nose and the.
You're right. Yeah, because when he put his hand in the light and he was like, and then he's like, no, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. You didn't see him as in his transformation that they could do. And I think for vampire bats, and I wish Sudz was here again, is that with them, I think they just hide from the sun just because their skin is not super thick for some of them, some of the species. And that's why it's like, it just irritates them. It's not like, oh, I'm dying. It's just like, I don't got thick skin like that because we mostly hunt in the nighttime. So that's it.
That's true. That's a very good way to put that. All right. So who was more important, Dr. Morbius or the vampire? Same person, but who's more important?
Dr. Morbius, man, because he had the math, the science, like all that. Without him, Morbius wouldn't exist.
Yeah. I'm going with the vampire. I'm going with the vampire only because his abilities that he had, the things that he could do once he got into that state. Because even though he could save people and do all this stuff with his human side, he still maintained that brain. So he can do all that as a vampire. So yeah, I'd still stay as a vampire. I ain't got to be slouched over.
Man, as a vampire, man, he got to time himself and try to control his thirst all day, every day, man. I'm saying, without the scientists.
What other temptations do we have to deal with as humans right now?
To that level, to where it's life or death? Nah, bro.
Yeah, there's some that you can really put in that category if you got them sort of urges. You know what I'm saying?
That ain't life or death, though. Come on, that ain't life or death. I knew you was gonna say it. That ain't got nothing to do with life or death, bro. If that don't happen, you not gonna die today.
Yeah,
let's just keep it 100.
I'm going with the vampire, definitely. I'm going with the vampire abilities. All right, so my next perfect question with that perfect segue: did he have any cons as a vampire? Did Dr. Morbius have any cons, negatives?
In the beginning, we killed like 7 people. Outside of that, just learn to control it. He really was, again, not being able to walk upright without having to use crutches. It must have just been like, I love how they show that scene. They did it was a mixture of like Blade movies and Batman movies mixed together for Morbius. Because like when he got in the tank with the vampires, I was like, this is literally what Batman did when he was trying to get over his fear, and when he fell in down the well. And the vampires came, and he closed his eyes. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get eaten by a vampire. I mean, eaten by these bats." And then he just stood up, and it was like, and then the music, that Batman music coming. I was like, "Oh, that's what I thought was gonna play." I was like, "What movie am I really watching out here?" Yeah, man. Like, I got nothing much else to say on that.
The only one I could say specifically would be the fact that he needed to drink blood, which if it was me, I'm somebody about to get their blood drained. That's all I can tell you. So minus that, I don't believe he had any because he was very strong. He had the echolocation. He had the super, not even this. He had the hearing as well, but the echolocation was crazy. The ability to fly and all that stuff, or glide with the wind, if you want to say that. So I didn't think he had any cons necessarily. More importantly, I believe he had more strengths than anything.
Yeah, because I mean, the sunlight would be the biggest one that we know from, again, the lore.
Yeah,
of a vampire. This whole how a vampire was thought of. But even watching a lot of the Castlevania that we watch, and a lot of other like Vampire Hunter D and all those. Like, you got to think about it, man. Like, okay, yeah, you in the sunlight, but because we built buildings or we can dig tunnels, it's like, all right, yeah, as long as I'm not in the, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing. Like, you really got to catch them out in the sun, like, for real.
Right.
Like, you got to bring them to the sun. Like, imagine going to the lair, like most movies, right? With vampires, you got to either go into their castle that's 500,000 feet tall. You got to go all the, and then you get into the castle, and they not right when you walk in the castle. You got to go all the way down to the bottom and through the cellar. And so imagine you got to figure out a way to either to get somebody to drill that tunnel or anything to where the vampire is resting, or their bottom layer, so that sunlight pierces through there. And even then, it's like, okay, that's just one spot. So I just think that, to your point, like, they got a lot more strengths than weaknesses.
Yeah.
I mean, outside as far as for Morbius and his character, because no one was using, and I mean, I don't know if they're gonna interact like they did on the Spider-Man, Spider-Man, the cartoon series, where they brought Blade in chasing Morbius one time.
Yeah.
And that whole thing, and like, does silver really affect them? All this stuff like that, because again, like you said, like in the TV show he was drinking, he just wanted plasma. It wasn't necessarily like, I gotta suck on blood type of thing. I just need the plasma. So it's just maybe that's the same exact thing. Again, when Sudz was here, she would give us way more detailed science.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Sudz.
I thought the cartoon aspect of that was ridiculous, man. Like this, I need plasma. And, he was from Romania or something like that. He had an accent and everything, and it was cheesy as hell. But I did like him. Something about it. Maybe it's because he was a vampire. I enjoyed it. Shout out to Castlevania, which is coming out soon.
Come on, man!
I love that link you sent me. I had to throw that in there because you mentioned it. That's coming back. I can't wait to watch that. But as a vampire, having weaknesses, again, we didn't see any at all, so we are unaware. I didn't follow the comics of Morbius. I didn't follow that, so I don't know if he had any pertaining to sunlight and the traditional things that come with the folklore of being a vampire. And he is a vampire, but he's one that also can be human as well. So it's a little different. He might be, Blade-esque, where he's a day walker sort of thing, and might have, you know what I mean? He might have the benefits, the best of both worlds sort of thing. So I don't know. And with that being said, what scene or scenes were iconic to you?
Like I mentioned before, the Batman scene with the bats going, the scene where what's the doctor's name again? The female doctor, I always get her name.
Martine.
Yeah, Dr. Martine. That scene where he sucked her blood, that was just like Blade, except he took all her. Except she was dying. So it was a little different. I mean, well, actually no, because it was the same thing. Like, she was like, you got to drink my blood, because she got stabbed in the arm or something like that. So yeah, all of those were like iconic scenes. The echolocation to me is iconic. Not the train one, but just the first time when he's really trying to understand it and how to process it, how to use it. I think these are all aspects that we've seen in other movies that they just did well. Like they didn't try to overdo it. I think it was really fun for me, man. I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna keep going back to the reviews that people had on there, and I can't say I'm disappointed because people's opinions are what they are. And I'm gonna say this: I haven't looked at the opinions or reviews of Jurassic World, but I did watch it, so I'm gonna be quiet on that.
Me too.
People's opinions or critiques of things are not necessarily my reflection, because what I think of something is going to be different. Sometimes I align with people on what they say, depending on what it is. But if something is good, it's good. So, for example, the first time he changed on the ship, watching him dodge bullets in slow motion.
Come on, man.
Sweet as hell. Like, in the way that they showed him, let's say, jumping or moving around, and he had like the kind of a blur effect behind him. That was dope. And then most importantly, and I know you said you didn't really care for it, but the scene when he was in the subway, that right there was crazy. And it's like it just came to him. He's sitting there and the wind is blowing and it's blowing, the train's coming, and he's like, oh shoot, like this is slowed down and I can catch and see how to, float with the wind. And he just took off. That right there blew my mind, man. It literally blew my mind. And I thought, if you could have did any scene in a movie to make it be one of the best ones, or make it be so good where people will love it. And case in point, just for me, for the Batman, it was when the Batmobile came out, whatever. This was it for Morbius when he learned how to fly. That was my spot right there. When he learned how to fly, that was it for me. That's just my opinion. And I absolutely loved that. And again, the first scene when he was doing what he had to do, because when he was fighting Milo at the end, it was kind of too much going on. You couldn't really see. He's falling through beams and hitting this and hitting that. I couldn't pay attention to everything that was going on because it was so fast, a lot of CGI and stuff like that. So I couldn't really tell what was going on, but it was dope. But that train scene, yeah, that was everything. Definitely everything. Now, here's a perfect question I've been waiting to ask. Was Milo, Lucian, whatever you want to call him,
put some respect on his name, man.
Yeah, the New Balance King. I'm gonna call him the New Balance King.
There we go. Now we talking.
The ass New Balances on. Was he a true friend?
Up until the point where he took the serum. Hell yeah, man. He was funding all. Come on, bro. Let's not even play that. I'm not even gonna hold. Not even hold Lucian to act like this is. Come on, Lucian literally is like, bro, you got a dream, and yes, I know it would benefit me, but like literally we formed a brotherhood, and like all the research that you do, Lucian funds it, and he literally like it's like keeping you out of
where are you getting his money from?
That's a good question, bro. I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. Lucian might have been a drug lord, bro. They trying to play us.
Yeah.
I mean, he got bought. He's talking about he want to see the boss, and dudes got ARs and all that. So I don't know what's going on. G36Cs out there, they ready for war. But
yeah,
man, he was. I definitely think he was a good friend. I think that the way that they did his character at the end, I was just like, come on, bro, like. Y'all made it where it's like, I'm your best friend and you can't be with nobody else. And I'm like, come on, really? Like, it didn't even seem like they see each other like even on a daily basis. It's only when Morbius come in and ask for money. Keep it 100. Like, come on, bro. That's all I'm saying.
In my opinion, I think that he was not. And this is why. Why would you reach out? First off, why would you take drugs? Or the same thing that your quote unquote best friend or best friend took. You don't know the effects. You just see him walking around. He all good. You're like, oh man, damn, you vital. You got your stuff back. You looking like better than you ever were. Like, I've never thought you would be like this. You have no idea what the effects are, what the side effects, anything. You say, I'm gonna do this. Then you get this and you realize, oh, I have a thirst for blood. I need to do this to be able to sustain and live, etc. What do? You attack the person he loves, the only other person he loves besides you, and I can't remember the other doctor's name. I know him from Mad Men and other movies.
Nicholas was the third person he attacked.
Yeah, so he was kind of like their father. So you attacked him and you attacked Dr. Bancroft. What sort of friend would do that to your ace, your right hand. You know what I'm saying? This is your man, 100 grand right here. You did all that to do what? Like, what was the purpose of it? I never understood why he did what he did. What are you just trying to say? Hey, you got to drink blood. Follow me. Is this Lost Boys, Michael? You got to do what I do.
Right.
I didn't understand that. I
It
never
was,
did. Go ahead.
yeah. No, I was saying I think he answered that when he talked when they were talking when Nicholas and Lucian were talking. He was like, you always sided with him. He was always the favorite because of his intelligence, and you always pitied me because I just seemed like the weaker two, and you really didn't know where I was going. You know what I mean? And it was like that's where I said that's really it was like the jealousy of like you're keeping this from me. Like you put in all this work, all this time. You said, hey man, I really am gonna cure you. And I think it's also like anger of like you said you were gonna cure me and I believed you. And I think that was another thing where to agree with your point of maybe that wasn't necessarily a friendship, but it was like instead of you were you were trusting to somebody else for the vision of being free from what it is that jailed you in the body that you were in. So I get it. I just say towards the end because before you just really didn't have that, and I really thought that even when he walked away when Morbius told him to leave and he left, I really thought he was just like, all right, screw it, because he was like, hey man, I'm a monster. I mean, you literally hand this dude a blood pack and he drinks the blood pack. Like, now, I mean, to your point, it's like, whoa, yeah, like, huh?
You talking about when he was
no,
in jail?
when he was at the lab, when he met him at the lab.
Oh, okay.
He met him at the lab and saw he was transforming because he closely locked himself in the room because he was trying to test out how long he could last. And he was like, I need blood. And this man hands him blood and literally drinks it out and like, all right, this is beyond what I'm beyond my character right here. So yeah, I'll let that be with that one. I agree with you with that.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he was a friend at all, man. Like my best friend, we haven't seen each other in a couple years because the way he is, he's in the military, etc. But it's been my man since high school. Like that's been my right hand, and I have another one too that I'm close like that with since college. But either way, there's limitations to things that we would do. There's no way that I would say, all right, I see you done took some new drug or serum or whatever. I want to do the same thing, but then now I'm gonna do things that I know are your weakness. I would never attack that person where I knew it would hurt him at. And obviously, being Lucian, you know what's gonna hurt him because y'all been friends since you were probably 10 years old at the orphanage or whatever the hell you were staying at. So was he a real friend? In my opinion, I don't believe he was. Because a real friend, to just me, a real friend wouldn't do that. Because there's certain lines I wouldn't cross, whether that be mess with the other person's girl or whoever your significant other is. Man, Milo was like, nah, I'm going at his shorty. I'm about to get her, and I'm going at our pops to draw him out. What you gonna do? That dude wasn't no friend. He just was trying to get himself up. Again, we don't know what he did for a living. We knew he had mad paper. We seen him take the serum. Next thing you know, he dancing and doing push-ups and stuff like that. So I don't think he was a true friend at all. And with that, this is my last question for him. Watching the post-credit scenes, if you haven't seen it, is this a movie you would enjoy to watch a part 2 of?
I mean, honestly, like it can't just be Morbius, man. Like I said, it gotta have Blade in there. You gotta tie in Dracula. Like, I mean, you gotta do everything because the way it's set up now, like without having Dracula in there, I'm just kind of like, what's really gonna be for Morbius, because Morbius is he's not an anti-hero or hero. I mean, like in the comic book, on the show later on, he definitely does go with Blade, and they try to eradicate a lot of the vampires. So he becomes a vampire hunter, at least in the Spider-Man show. But I don't know, man. It's just not I don't know. It's just not a standalone Morbius thing. This is just an introduction to which it should have been an introduction to Blade, not the dude who played Vulture. That just tripped me out.
There you go. I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, I was just like, but I didn't watch that one. So I missed that Spider-Man, the one with the Vulture. I watched all the other ones. Yeah, I didn't watch that one. Yeah, I got to watch that one because I know Michael Keaton. If that right, that's his name.
Yeah.
I heard that one was good. I got to go back and watch it, man.
You gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Like, let me backtrack before I go forward and say what I gotta say to answer this
Yeah,
question.
no, you can
First
spoil
off,
alert, man. I'm gonna watch it anyway.
you gotta put some respect on Michael Keaton's name in any role he plays in, from Batman to Beetlejuice to the Vulture. That
Sure,
dude
man.
is serious. So, to answer the question, yes, I want to watch part 2 specifically because based upon what happened with what is it, No Way Home Spider-Man? Because I don't remember all these things. I
That's what
believe
I'm saying. It's no, I think it was it home? It was Homecoming.
It's No Way Home.
Is No Way Home?
Yeah, I'm
Or
pretty
the
sure
Vulture
No Way
was
Home.
in that one. I don't know. Like I said,
So
bro, I watched so
with
many.
that, and he open the multiverse and all that stuff. Doctor Strange is involved, whatever. There's no way I would miss the second movie of this, because first off, you already see that this is not a prequel, but an introduction to Morbius himself. You see his abilities, and he's a baby. He's a baby right now. He's not fully developed. He hasn't learned himself, his limitations, etc. He's just playing around right now. So absolutely, I want to see part 2, because you got the Vulture in there, and the Vulture, if you watch Spider-Man, for people who don't watch it, I ain't gonna say no names. You watch it, you'll see the Vulture is that boy, and you're gonna understand that his importance in Morbius would be great, especially considering we already know Morbius doesn't mess with Spider-Man. That's his own reasons, which is going to tie into all of that. So absolutely, I got to watch part 2. But I'm surprised you ain't watched the Spider-Man.
I know, man. The one with the Vulture. I was gonna get to it, bro. I just didn't watch it. I was just like,
it was good, real good, bro. Like I can't believe you haven't watched that at all. I'm surprised. Totally. Well, I ain't got no more questions. That was the end of it right there. It's tough to be rambling on for an hour when it's just two of us. We need our third co-host right here. And I would love to hear her opinion on all the scientific aspects of this, because I can guarantee you she would have me like, oh, all right, that makes sense. And then, just giving that perspective of everything else. So we miss her right now.
That's a fact. We got number love for you suds, but no,
absolutely.
Definitely. I just think that Morbius overall, like I said, number 2. You just had to show me more. Again, I got to watch the one, the Spider-Man with the Vulture. For me, honestly, I want Sony to just like end it, and end all the X-Men, Marvel. I mean, just end all the Marvel stuff and just hand it over to Disney and to the Marvel team so that they can really get it going. I mean, to have Blade come out, are coming like 2023, I believe.
You know who's playing him, right?
Yeah, exactly. Dude, he's from Oakland, California. Yeah, I already know. Yeah, he's from the town, man.
I ain't know that. Okay, I ain't know that. That's my guy right there.
I had to check him out. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was from the town, but I'll double check though, because everybody saying he's from the town. So I got to make sure. You know how town people be like, yeah, he's from the town.
Yeah,
just because he was born in the hospital in Oakland, Highland Hospital, just don't make him from the town, okay? But anyway, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that I don't know. I'm just saying sometimes people be like, "Yeah, I was born." You know how people be like, "I was born in Brooklyn."
Here.
I was like, "Bro, just because you was born in Brooklyn, if you didn't stay at least 5 years of your life or 10 years of your life in a part of the city that you want to claim, come on, bro. Like, what do you remember?"
Nah, there's pivotal parts of that where you got to live to say that you from a specific city or town or whatever.
Facts.
Yeah, like so. Nah, I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, my guy is gonna be the new Blade, so I'm very excited to see that, and I think he'll do an excellent job, because first off, filling Wesley Snipes' shoes that's gonna be tough.
Come on, bro. You gotta have Wesley.
You gotta introduce him in there. Just off GP.
Yeah, if you're gonna do multiverse stuff, because like I'm not gonna lie, because this does tie into Morbius, does tie into Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So this is no like tangent, but like the multiverse, the last Spider-Man I watched, I was just like, I mean, it was cool for reminiscing, but then I was just kind of like, all right, man, like either you're gonna bring out more villains, you're gonna put Venom out here, you're gonna do something, and it just didn't go to that level. And I was like, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, man,
they're introducing everything else with it. Spider-Man is the new head of the Avengers eventually, is what that's going to be. He's opening up a whole new lane, and then with this Doctor Strange thing, that's opening up another lane and just tying everything together, where from what I understand and talking with like bigger nerds than us, I believe there is a group of people from Marvels. What do they call them? Bigger than the Eternals. I forgot what they call them. But anyways, they're all gonna be incorporated into this storyline. Whether it's in Morbius being involved, Doctor Strange, that's all gonna happen based upon how everything is headed.
Just to bring the X-Men in, you know, we got to talk to Nerd Soul, man, and his squad, because they definitely schooled me on some stuff when we was doing the what ifs, and I was talking bad about Hawkeye and
I can't stand Hawkeye. I'm just gonna keep it.
Yeah, I mean Hawkeye and what's her name and Black Widow, and I know in the comics
I like Black Widow
that they survived. I don't know if that was Age of Ultron or whatever it was, but I was just like, come on, man, like Hawkeye, bro, like and Black Widow, like I'm just saying. But anyway. Yeah, man. So just check us out. We coming back. We don't know what we're watching in the following week. I mean, not this fall. Well, maybe even the following week. So it's gonna take a hiatus. I think after this month.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go heavy, man. I think we're just gonna go back to rapid fire.
Yeah.
With the shows like we do. I think there's a lot of shows that we need to catch up on. I just don't want to always give it to Netflix, but I can't even lie. You know, I know Netflix stock is way down, but they still coming out with fire shows. I definitely want to watch Vampire in the Garden. I wanted to put that on my list.
That first episode was fire.
I just turned it on. So
that first episode was fire. I'm just gonna let you know.
You got Vampire in the Garden. You got a show called 86 that has the mechs.
You got Bullets, one or the other. That I just added that to my list today. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, we might even talk about Stranger Things, which that's real deep. But I'm all the way up on that. We might even talk about Stranger Things because that's our era, like 80s.
Come on, man. We could drop that, man. I was born 85, so I'm just like 85 was
80s baby still.
Yeah, but I'm talking about from 85. Like they in the 90s now? Is that what they are?
No, they're still in the 80s.
7? 80?
Yeah, late 80s. They're still in late 80s, definitely.
Because I mean, as a kid, I remember watching. So like, see, when I was so me 85. So when I was 7. I was watching reruns of Voltron, if I'm not mistaken, on a small TV, bro. Like the size of this computer, 13-inch screen, man. Had that thing. My mom set that TV so damn high. I don't know why, but yeah, we can definitely do Stranger Things, man. We got a lot. We got a lot of shows to cover. I mean, again, shout out to Nerd Soul. Shout out to Fantastic Frankie, Fanboy Fighter. Like she doing her thing. I even forgot the other lady's name who's holding it down too. She usually has a lot of the blonde long hair, but she doing her thing too. Definitely doing a lot of Comic-Cons, which we definitely gonna come to these Comic-Cons, man, show love and to the people. So
and I actually eventually soon I'm gonna have a episode where I'm gonna have my brother from another mother on here because he produced this and dropped his first comic.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
we got to continue with the people, bro.
He's an ally. He's an ally, but that's my brother from another mother.
We got to do
the official comic. I do have the PDF Kindle version of it. My wife bought for me, but I supported their fundraiser sort of thing and all that. The what do you call it? The
Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarter. I supported the Kickstarter, so I'm waiting for the official comic, and he got different variant covers for it and stuff. And I'm excited because I understand the history, I understand the story behind it, where these characters came from. So we're gonna have him on here too. And we gotta get. I want to get what's the brother that had the New Orleans story? Was that
Oh no, we got the Crescent City Monster. We talked to him already.
I want to get him back on here.
Oh, for Vigilante, we got to get him and TJ
Sterling back.
Yeah,
I missed the episode with Concrete Comics.
Oh yeah, I even got to put the video clips on that, man. I've been slacking on that Concrete. My bad, but that was a good conversation. You gonna like that?
Onaji was one of our favorite joints.
Come on, bro.
His energy was just raw and pure. He don't give a damn. He just be just letting it go. So we're gonna do that, but we appreciate everybody showing up as always. I don't know who else we have in here. Brick, salute to you, man. You always come through, show love. Thank you so much for your support and everything. I might be seeing you in August. That's another conversation. Shout out to all the fans that support since day one, all of our supporters just in general. And we'll see y'all again on another Friday, every Friday on Black Nerd Fridays. Peace, y'all.